So, in a lot of New Age material, there's a big focus on opening the third eye or healing the pineal gland, things of that nature. But what most people don't realize is even in those esoteric teachings, there's a pretty big danger and risks involved with doing such a thing, especially to the unwary who have done no preliminary work whatsoever. Most amateur spirit seekers are ignorant of the risks beyond the activation of the dormant pineal gland inside the brain. And like usual, I'm not trying to prove anyone of anything. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. So if you don't believe in such stuff, just take this as it is, as entertainment. And in opening the third eye, it really can only be done through a healthy pineal gland, which many believe is a gateway that activates higher states of consciousness, as well as the ability to see beyond the veil of mundane existence. It's been said to be the seat of the soul, the heart of spiritual power, and the eye, which can be used to see into the etheric realms, or the astral plane. And even though the pineal gland is thrown in with like New Age spiritual stuff, it's actually very real. It's medically proven to be inside your brain. Sadly, the thing about the pineal gland, though, is it's pretty much calcified over from birth because of all the bombardments of chemicals that were given at a young age. But those who believe in such phenomena as the third eye, though difficult and challenging to do, it's completely possible to open the third eye, which will inevitably lead to profound life-changing experiences. With it comes the awakening of psychic powers that can lead to understanding the true nature of the universe. Because once activated, there is no turning back to the ignorant materialistic existence that came before. Some spirit seekers even become obsessed with obtaining third eye awakening, willing to achieve it at any cost. In this information age, there are many details and instructions out there on how to achieve the activation of the pineal gland. Basically, anyone can find one with just a quick Google search. However, what is often left out is the darker nature of the third eye. Everything exists in a series of polarities. Where there is light, a shadow must also be cast. This is self-evident in nature, and any of the wisdom traditions came to this conclusion thousands of years ago. And this leads to those unready to experience higher consciousness finding themselves overwhelmed in waking nightmares. And once the gate is opened, it can't be closed. Essentially, opening the third eye can be a wonderfully profound experience, or the descent into hell. With the third eye open, the individual will be able to see into the etheric worlds existing beyond space-time, also called the astral plane, or it has different names in different traditions, etc. In the higher worlds of thought, a person's emotions and mindset can be like a magnet, drawing things of the same polarity to that individual. To those who have not done the spiritual work necessary to bear such esoteric powers, the unprepared can unwittingly attract darkness through lower vibrations. The spiritual sight endowed by a healthy awakened pineal gland / third eye is capable of seeing all that is the darkness and the light. Anger, fear, self-loathing, insecurities, or any of the lower vibrational emotions can be seen like a fire in the night and attract things beyond mundane comprehension. Opening the third eye before being ready can completely imbalance one's whole subtle energy body, as well as the energies in the physical body, and leave an undisciplined mind in a sea of dissonance. An awakened pineal gland without a person being grounded can cause disorientation, dissociation, migraines, headaches, as well as physical and mental fatigue. To see past the veil and into the spiritual world should never be a task taken lightly unless one wishes to leave their sanity behind. To forcibly open the third eye is a recipe for disaster, and those who wish to do it for selfish or materialistic reasons can expect a rude awakening. Nearly all spiritual abilities work correctly from a holistic practice of meditation and other grounding techniques to create a balanced equilibrium. The undisciplined mind is a haven for chaos, and this is exactly what will be attracted. So basically, an unfiltered third eye is not something you'd really wish on anyone, even your worst enemy. Being able to see every spirit at all times would be a life similar to the kind that the kid had in the movie The Sixth Sense. You'd be waking up in the middle of the night to see frightening things in your room, or open a door and see shadowy figures standing beyond. Instead of these things being daydreams of the imagination, they will be real, everyday life occurrences. And sadly, there are many children who are born pretty much with this ability half open or half activated as is, and they slowly lose it when they get older. Not only because of all the chemicals and poisons pumped into them, but because of the conditioning around seeing such things. And without any of the grounding work being done, there will be no spiritual protection built up naturally. The unprepared will be a beacon to malevolent forces wishing to feed off of their energy. Sights, intuitions, emotions, and dreams will be forced into the victim's consciousness with no filter by these negative entities, which goes without saying will leave the person in a consistent condition of distress without any of the enlightenment they were hoping for. To go willingly into the unknown with courage undaunted is a virtue, but to do so unprepared is sadly more common than expected. But fear-mongering is pointless. Human beings have the pineal gland for a reason. According to many spiritual traditions, it's every soul's destiny to eventually awaken this eye at some point in a physical incarnation within the multiverse, which has also been called the Great Work. But nothing worth having comes without risks or hard work and dedication. H.P. Lovecraft said that humanity's oldest and greatest fear is the unknown. To open one's third eye is to willingly walk directly into the unknown. And many modern New Age proponents talk about the subject in a very lighthearted manner, placing a little emphasis on the risks involved, which has led many into a downward spiral of madness and horror. When the truly ineffable vastness of the invisible and the entities that inhabit the countless planes of existence become apparent, otherworldly beings may be drawn to you because you have separated yourself from the original timeline, and those that dwell beyond space-time see you eternally. So essentially, if you've seen weird stuff when you were a kid, you probably encountered that thing originally when you were far older. There is no longer a past or future to how they can interact with you in your current incarnation. From birth to death, they see you in an ever-present now. To quote Nietzsche, "Once you are awake, you will be awake eternally." So basically, once the third eye's open, you'll begin to see things, feel things, sense things, and experience things on an energetic level like never before. Mundane humans can only see very little with their organic eyes on many different levels, including the light spectrum and so on. Not to mention just all of the countless, like literally countless things filtered out by your subconscious. Most people are actually consciously aware of very little, not only in their own psychology and what's going on around them, but basically all the invisible things that constantly surround us in our everyday lives that we're just not biologically built to see. But after awakening, the third eye will see the invisible as clear as day. This cascade of sensory overload can be far too much to bear, much less comprehended. This includes countless types of spirits, such as those on the astral plane, the primordial elementals, including demons, fairies, nature spirits, aliens, among a long list of other interdimensional entities, to the straight-up spirits of the dead. Depending on who you ask or what spiritual tradition one is coming from, there are countless names for these entities, not to mention the inner demons buried within the subconscious mind that will come out to confront one head-on. One does not become enlightened by imagining beings of light, but by making the darkness conscious, to quote Carl Jung. And after awakening, all sight and senses will go far beyond the physical realm, and the person will be much more susceptible to the influences of the spiritual planes. It can be utterly emotionally draining, to say the least. Low vibrations will attract dark entities that will break a person down slowly over time, feeding off the negative energy. They'll want you to feel fear, hopelessness, and despair, with no rest whether awake or sleeping, since they can invade a victim's dreams to torment them there as well. However, it is important to remember too that no matter how many negative entities there are just as many good ones, and those with infinite shades of gray. The only problem is the positive ones can't really communicate or manifest in places of low vibration, which also includes a cluttered and messy environment. Negative energy is literally like a gate that keeps the beings of the light at bay, or benevolent aliens, depending on what you're reading. So in order to continue their easy meal, the dark entities will attempt to keep a never-ending cycle of their victims' suffering, which, without proper help or knowledge, is incredibly difficult to break free from. Those unprepared to enter the spiritual worlds and see things through the third eye may find themselves losing their sanity and falling down a spiral of self-destruction. This is why those in the know will always suggest a most cautious approach to awakening this gate into the unknown. Being grounded with a calm, disciplined mind first means the negative entities from other dimensions will not be able to manifest or have power over someone. The other planes of existence are not for those unready to see. There are many people who should completely avoid the dangerous prospects of opening the third eye, and it should not be attempted unless one's life is in order and they have a disciplined spiritual practice.